Finally, we're together. I mean, together, like, it's us. I want you to know how special you are to me. I just feel so alive when I look at you. You know, I see things now that I didn't see before. I have a sense of clarity and purpose. It's like destiny, you know? I feel like I'm the one that's discovered beautiful and perfection. I want to climb to the top of Everest and say, I know what beauty is! I am in love with a Vizio!
Vizio.
So we have 3 laptops.
3 laptops for how many people? Like 40, 50 people?
Right, but we have then we have the room, which is only like 400 feet. We counted out from the cab stand. So when you get your shit back,
Wait, but what's that connection? You run in 10 seconds.
What the hell are you guys freaking out about? It's just E3, chill out a little bit.
It's press conferences, parties, and then come home 2 weeks and write everything up.
I mean, there are a lot of parties. You either pick, there's like 5 parties Wednesday night. But Wednesday, we're going to be back at the hotel working.
You guys are helping with online this year. You guys will be there too.
You will be there.
What? Yes.
You guys.
We ain't doing shit.
Kiss your little finger foods goodbye. Kiss your little like whining and dining. E3's fun party time. Hey, maybe we'll write something up in 2 weeks. I know. I used to be print.
And then you guys gonna help us with our issue next month?
Yeah, that's the deal, right?
I'll write a 150-word review for you if that helps you out. You know, if that really helps you out.
No, but really, have you seen Matt's schedule at all for Wednesday? I saw some big, 5 pieces of paper. But there's There's no way that we're gonna be able to write all that stuff. Like,
it's not just in one space anymore. It's like spread out over like 18 different locations. There's no way we can be in all those locations.
I don't even know how we're gonna find it all. I mean, how are we gonna get there? I don't even know where it all is.
Dude, don't worry. I got it all programmed into iPhone. It's all good. Like we'll just go to any of the locations through. Don't worry. I'm not getting lost. Oh, he's fine. He's fine. Don't worry about it.
All right, that's enough. Everybody shut up. Just, you have your assignments. Go to Matt Leone. If you don't know where you're supposed to be, just be where you're supposed to be. Keep your cell phone turned on and don't be late to shit. Let's go.
no parties.
Does the iPhone have a cell phone on it? Thank you, everyone.
I'm still going to the parties. I don't
Yeah,
care what they say.
maybe I will.
Don't worry. Look. See, it has all the locations in here. I like bookmark Barker Hangar. That's where the actual show's at. Our hotel's in here. We can get from anywhere we need to go. I'm not too worried about, the little things. And plus, Matt Leone made the schedule. Matt Leone always makes the schedule.
Matt Leone will make it okay.
Matt Leone and iPhone will make this an okay E3. Trust me. Trust me.
Hong Kong filmmaking industry is super competitive and people just rip people off. He'd often just kind of make up the action scenes as they went along.
That's what makes them cool.
Like that. It's kind of like how we do the one up there.
Yeah.
Nobody really knows what's happening until I show up with a cupcake and some beer. And I love the idea. It's not just video games are becoming more like movies. They're actually blending the two. I haven't gotten to play a lot of Stranglehold.
Why are you here then?
Because I am a John Woo super fan, and I've been excited about this game for a really long time.
Yeah, but it's really funny that we're getting excited about a cinematic director involving himself in a game, because many of those projects have gone horribly awry, right? I think the thing that came across to me that was good about this one is that you can see his influences, but it's still a game, and it's still a game that really works. It's more like he's just there giving his perspective on how to make each scene more dramatic. You know, how to make it like really come to life and jump off the screen. This game is Max Payne.
Jump off the screen.
Yeah.
More doves.
More cliches.
Who killed the cop? Go to Tai-O and ask an I-9. But be quick. There won't be any left after tomorrow.
This is the PsyOps team, right?
It is.
So I don't know why I didn't put that together, because I thought actually that was a big underrated game, and then this game seems...
No, it actually got good ratings. It just didn't sell.
Okay.
Underselling game.
Yes.
Under-recognized game.
Common mistake.
But I meant not underrated as far as like critical review, but underrated as far as how many people picked it up. It was out at about the same
By
time.
the dictionary definition. You meant it by the Garnet definition.
Right, of course.
Okay.
Matt was laughing at us. You played this game a bunch, right?
I have.
Because the buzz was, I walked out of there and I was like, wow, that was awesome. And he's like, really, you haven't played that before?
Yeah, he was like really impressed by the massive D, for another buzzword, the destruction and everything
Yeah.
that blows
Right.
up, which is awesome and it works really well. But like, I think I was impressed by like how many people just had never seen that before.
Yeah, and remember at Sony Gamers Day, like Mark was like, "Oh my God, you can destroy everything," but you
Yeah.
and I were sitting there going, "Oh yeah, welcome to the party." That's been the thing about the game for like ever.
Not that we're elitist, but that's like the whole
Yeah,
thing.
that's the whole thing. But the thing is, like, it is telling that like when people first start to play the game, it is the thing about the game, and then it is good that when you first start to play the game, that's the first thing you notice. Like, oh my God, I am a machine bent on destruction and mayhem. Now, the health system and everything, you collect health, but then you...
It's like an old game before
Yeah.
they had auto rechargeable. you get hurt and then your life bar goes down and then you get health packs.
and then you...
But I mean, it does have this. So you have this kind of juice that you get, which you can choose to spend on special moves or health. So if you don't have a health pack around, you just hit left on the D-pad, and then you fill up a little bit of your health at a time. So I mean, basically, you get to decide whether you want to do something really cool with your juice. I don't know what it's really called, or if you want to spend on health. So I found myself doing that a lot, just to kind of not have to worry about health packs so much.
And then the special moves were like the slowing down, the distribution of doves.
The bullet time, if you will, is not one of the special moves. That's this meter that you always have.
Okay.
So you can either dive and do it, or you can just walk around and do it, and you can do that as long as you want, and then as soon as you're done, it'll recharge. The special moves, which are the like the sniper shot and the barrage, where you use your weapons and it become more powerful in slow-mo and just kind of bigger range. And those are the only two that were in the version we were playing, but there's one more coming. And then those, you basically choose, how much of your juice you want to spend on them. So you can use them as you wish, basically.
The charge-up system is based on how stylistic or how stylish your kills are. So, if you're on a zip cord, pop it into slow-mo, cap a couple of guys with headshots, blow support out from underneath some boulders and have it roll down into a whole bunch of other guys and kill them, you'll see these stars popping up on the side, and those stars are like how stylish your kill was, and that starts charging the meter that lets you pull all the special moves.
You can also pick up these little origami doves,
Oh yeah, the purple birds.
which gives you more of the
the
juice.
cranes, the origami cranes.
How'd you guys feel? You guys got to play it. How do you think it feels, really?
I think it controls pretty well. I think it looks a little bit better than it feels, just because the aim is a little loose. But I have a feeling that's going to be worked on a little bit. It's definitely something where when you slow down, you feel like you're doing it right. But when you're going at full speed and you're running up the rafters and swinging on chandeliers and everything, it gets a little crazy just because of how much you're moving. So you kind of have to keep your aim with that, which is kind of hard. But when you're just kind of standing still, or when you're in the slow-mo or doing any of these special moves, I think it feels really good.
It's so Max Payne, and I loved Max Payne, but it has the same pace through the levels as Max Payne. It has the same, you burn through weapons, throw them down, and there's a new one every 5 meters. It has the same, you pull the trigger to jump, and the jump isn't the standard. There's no standard jump, there's only the cool, I'm doing a big dive jump. It's just...
There's no reload either.
And so there's no reload either. It's
just like a John Woo movie.
It's just like a John Woo movie, and it's very much like Max Payne. I think the contextual jump where you if you're going to jump on a banister or something like that, it highlights itself. Everything that has interactivity has like a little sheen that comes on it, so you know exactly where to go, what to do. Oh, I can interact with that. It makes it very easy to do that. And like people have talked about digital actors for a long time, and the faces. Why are you laughing? I think it's really.
I just like the terms you use.
Well,
digital actors.
Yeah, that's like been a buzzword people have thrown around for a long time, and this is like the first game I looked at and I said, "Wow, you know what? Those guys look really good," and I would believe that they are like I would accept them being called digital actors.
Yeah, especially in the game itself. The cutscenes were a little odd at times, but I think in the game it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
I wish I had some birds to release into the camera and go out slow-mo.
Blow up that baked potato.
Is this the right weapon to be using for this particular rock?
It is.
Excellent.
It is indeed.
Let me check my stocks on the latest on the iPhone here. See how I'm doing. You always playing far, or you sometimes playing near?
How do you, oh, I didn't know you could move to near.
You don't even know you can move to near and far?
Yeah, actually, I've only played in near. Shane's been passing out a lot of
There's a lot of misinformation floating around this game. I'm getting it off of the boards and off the internet. Like there isn't much documentation with this game. Like when you get it, it doesn't really tell you exactly what you're supposed to be doing.
But it's kind of a cool thing because like there is enough depth to it that there's enough worth talking about.
A lot of people didn't even know you could boost.
Right.
Like I was talking to people who'd been playing it like several days.
We got
like,
our
boost.
We got our 14 million point score or whatever without knowing about boost at all.
Wow.
It is so simple. It's immediate, like you know exactly what it is when you pick it up. But there is enough depth to it that like we've had, you know, all these conversations about like, oh yeah, well which weapon do you start off with? Like, oh, you know, I power up this weapon because, you know, in the first stage I play the planets in order. I actually power up the gold melter weapon because the first stage is kind of easy, and then when the second stage, when the gold stuff comes, you've got your gold melter powered up. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff.
No, 44 million it was the high score.
No, 100. Someone has 111.
Yeah, no, but yesterday when I checked, 44 million was the high score.
It goes up daily now. Yeah. It's like 247 or something.
That's the thing is, I think people are finally like putting all the tactics together, using the boost, using the
exactly. You know, that's the great thing about it. And like, okay, this is how I'm gonna get my multiplier. Like me, I don't go for 1-ups. I go for shields because a shield is better than a 1-up because it's the same thing. You take a hit, but it keeps your multiplier up, right?
Oh, so if you wait on a 1-up, it moves to shield.
It will turn into a shield.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
You know, it came out last Thursday. I heard good stuff about it. I went home and bought it. I really loved it when I played it. Came in the next morning, you know, to spread the gospel, and I gotta say, I met with some resistance. I don't know if it's like I'm the boy who cried wolf, like you guys don't believe when I say a game is good.
You specifically were like, this is the next Geometry Wars, and I've heard a lot of things touted around as the next Geometry Wars, so that immediately to me is like, okay, skepticism. Then two, like when you first see it, it's kind of like, okay, it's another Geometry Wars clone.
Yeah. Well,
the thing is, it's not.
The other clones we've seen, like there's one on 360, there's one on PS3, like whatever they're called.
Yeah, this makes Blast Factor look like Ass Factor.
Right. And you were against, you're like, oh, it really isn't like Geometry Wars, but I think it really is.
It's enough different that it stands on its own. I mean, I would, you know, like Samurai Showdown to Street Fighter, right? Okay, it is another like 2D fighting game, but it's different enough that it totally bears standing on its own. You know, Geometry Wars is beautiful in its own way, but this game actually, like, it looks like something. You know, like the rocks look like rocks, the ships look like ships, like the effects are amazing. You see it all going on.
I think the graphics are pretty good, but I think people like them maybe more than me. I don't know. I think they get the job done.
When I was playing, Kath was over, and she was saying it made it more fun for her to play it, to think of it as Battlestar Galactica, the game. You know, and like think she was Starbuck.
She was like imagining fan fiction. That doesn't surprise me at all. But
such a nerd.
I think the big difference between this and Geometry Wars or Robotron or many of the other games that come out is that you're fighting on this giant sphere that is endless, so you never get backed into a corner.
Right.
And instead, you get to like string along these elaborate chases between all these things coming after you, which is really nice.
It does deliver like the core Geometry Wars experience, which is like I'm surrounded by enemies, I have these bombs, I'm trying to stay alive, because that's what Geometry Wars does to me. But then it delivers all like the complexity of different weapons, shields, bosses.
It's even got bosses, yeah. And the bosses are like super old school kind of shooter bosses. what surprised me about the game is like the level of polish. Like the game has these super satisfying, like the feel is just super satisfying when a huge new rock comes in.
Oh, yeah.
Like the feeling of just like slathering it down and like breaking it apart with the gold crusher.
What an excellent weapon, right?
Oh,
like,
the gold
it's so
crusher is
fantastic.
awesome. Or
Yeah.
like when the little UFOs come down, like the feeling of like you hit them and they flash until they blow up. Got this visceral, like satisfying feeling. It's like, yes, when it blows up.
The end of a stage like the third planet.
I made it to the third planet. I don't think I've made it to. Oh, I did. The boss is two UFOs at once.
That's nuts, dude. When because you fight the first one, it seems hard because it shoots out all the bullets like any other shooter boss in history. But it's not like as difficult as something like Ikaruga or Gradius or any of like the treasure shooters where bullets are everywhere. So it doesn't feel that difficult. But once they put two of them on the screen at once, then it gets pretty complex, and you really do have to do some intense bullet dodging.
I definitely also like the ramp up and the reward. Like in Geometry Wars, when you get your multipliers and you're really far in the game, you die, you're screwed. In this game, you don't lose your weapon. Multipliers come back pretty quickly, actually. Like you can rebuild your multiplier, so it's not the end of the world.
It still feels really good once you make it up to like an 8 times multiplier. Like you do feel pretty like, wow, I've been alive for a long time. This is I've accomplished a lot.
Things come in and it shows you where they're going to land, and it's like a different thing than Geometry Wars.
I didn't even know about that. Like when the countdown comes down, if you get all of those asteroids, you get a huge bonus. People who've played the Amiga version say that one had some expansion things that came out with like new types of levels, and there's a possibility that might happen here too. So there could be future content updates for this game. My only complaint is the music. I like the music. I like the Amiga mod scene techno. However, you're gonna play this game a ton because it's so addictive, and no custom soundtracks. If there's any game where I want them to use custom soundtracks, and I hear that the technology's out there, just nobody's using it, this is the game.
Because in Geometry Wars, that's all I did. Like I just listen. I'd get a new CD and I'd be excited because it's like, oh, I can play Geometry Wars.
That was like
a
feature of the dashboard when that dashboard update came out. It was like, oh, and you can play custom soundtracks in Geometry Wars, and everyone was
if the game wasn't so addictive, I wouldn't be complaining about that.
The other thing, while we're on complaints, like co-op, like it's kind of not a game perfectly made for co-op because you're on this sphere. It's not like Geometry Wars when they can just zoom out.
It'd be nice if you had your own planet, like your own screen.
I think
when
it
you're
does.
playing on the
It works fairly well, and it gives you the bonus of like if you stay close together, your shots are better. So like there's a new strategic element to it. I mean, it isn't perfect, but I'm glad it's included.
Right. And then the other thing, like, and it can't be for the same reason Geometry Wars can't, but like I wish it was online co-op.
Totally.
Like
it's really getting people to go on. Like I actually log on and there's like 10 of my friends on playing this game, and
more so than even Calling All Cards or some of the other games on PSN that people thought were going to be.
As much as I like Calling All Cards, this is a little easier to pick up, easier to get out of.
It's the PlayStation Network download that right now, is battling against Pac-Man for my time on Xbox 360.
And it like comes completely out of nowhere. Like I never even seen anything of this game until you said like it was out. I was like, wait,
apparently
what?
the Scandinavians knew what was up, but we were kind of in the dark and just showed up out of nowhere and blew everybody away.
It's amazing.
It's the best $8 I've spent.
Definitely,
this year.
definitely. Like, don't question it. Buy it. No question.
Just buy it.
Instant
If you have
purchase.
a PlayStation, buy it.
Yeah, instant purchase. Totally.
Great.
Yeah, this thing fucking totally fucks up this bomb guy too.
What's up?
Hey, what's up?
We gotta go to E3. I'm freaking out here. There's a lot to do.
There's like
No, we gotta pack this up.
Playing Stardust, it's fun.
I don't mean to ruin the
Killed
fun.
me anyway.
Hey, Shane, call me.
No, your poor
Oh, yeah,
skills
just call
killed
you.
you.
Yeah, call me.
Let's have an iPhone to
Oh
iPhone
my god, you
talk.
guys with your iPhones, you're sitting right next to each other.
But look how futuristic it is. It's like Star Trek, all right?
I need your help. Help.
We're busy, all right?
Freaking out.
Shh, I'll take a picture of your anguish.
There.
I'm gonna watch a funny video of you on
Read
YouTube.
between the lines. Yeah, just picture my
Look, it's Dramatic Hamster. That guy's funny.
I got Bub Rub and Lil Sis.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Finally, we're together. I mean, together, like Zus, I want you to know how special you are to me. I just feel so alive when I look at you. You know, I see things now that I didn't see before. I have a sense of clarity and purpose. It's like destiny, you know. I feel like I'm the one that's discovered beautiful and perfection. I want to climb to the top of Everest and say, I know what beauty is. I am in love with the Vizio.
Vizio.
One neat thing about being up, you know, going to see the game in Montreal is just getting the sense of like that studio does seem like it's very kind of, you know, independent from the EA that we know.
Right.
You know, they're working on this brand new game. They've kind of been working on it in secret, and it kind of allows them to do some kind of different things up there.
This is almost like for the EA, they're almost taking a political stance with the game. So much they're trying to call attention to these private military, contractors, and it's almost like we want players to Google this stuff. And if you'd like to learn more about private military contractors, then read this book and
yeah, definitely. I mean, they wouldn't really, you know, outright say, you know, we're trying to make a political statement. But yes, it was definitely that. It was like we want people to know more about it and let them kind of take things from there. You know, it's a good time for this kind of game too, because there's a lot going on in Iraq that maybe people aren't kind of aware of. And it's this type of game that will actually, you know, shed some light on that. I think it's, you know, really fascinating that, you know, there are almost as many private military, you know, workers in Iraq right now as there are U.S. military. And the whole concept of, you know, we talk about, you know, pulling out the troops and stuff. That doesn't really apply to them because they're there as long as, you know, as we're paying them. So, I mean, that's scary in a lot of ways, but it is fascinating, that's for sure. And
looks
you
like
know,
it makes for a cool game.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like, who would you rather be if you were out on the battlefield? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, they've made some pretty significant changes to the gameplay. Like they added in this aggro meter, which is like, it's kind of interesting where it's like it between the two characters it kind of moves left and right, so you actually kind of it changes the balance of the gameplay a little bit. So like as one person's shooting more, the aggro moves towards them, and then the enemies kind of focus in on them. So you can actually see it on the characters where they like the guy with more aggro kind of turns red a little bit, and the guy without it kind of becomes like he you know, kind of gets a little bit transparent. But yeah, it actually comes into play in the gameplay because, like, as the enemies are focusing in on the one guy, the other guy can kind of sneak around, maybe, you know, do some headshots and stuff like that.
So you're saying also adds like to the strategy of it too, because you kind of have to tell one guy, it's like, quit shooting.
Right. Yeah, you
down.
might say like, you know, stop shooting for a bit. I'm like gonna run around, and it actually, what the other thing about it too is like once you build up enough aggro, you can trigger this super move, which slows down all the enemies a little bit and makes you go faster. And it actually kind of has like, when you run, it kind of has like that like kind of Gears of War kind of guy like camera look. Which actually that was one thing too. It seems like over this like past year, they've been influenced quite a bit from Gears. Like talking to all the guys up there, they played it quite a bit, and you know, you can kind of see it in the gameplay now.
I mean, it's not so much like the smashing up against buildings and that kind of thing. It's more just like the CNN battle camera following.
Yeah.
kind of thing.
I mean, that's when you trigger that move. But there's also like, I mean, you do have the kind of cover. You can run up to something and cover. I think it's actually easier than in Gears because you don't actually have to trigger it. It all kind of works. Yeah.
I know back when I saw it, they had all these like crazy, like almost little mini games. Like when you would die, you would have to keep running from the light. And when one guy would die, or one guy would be like squirting blood, the other guy would like stuff a tampon in it to soak up.
Yeah, it was interesting because some of it's still there. Like you do actually have the tampon scene. You do have like doing a little bit of like the kind of CPR stuff. But there was one thing where it was actually they had a mini game that they were working on, which was a lot like Trauma Center in a way, where you actually had to like you know, like do some surgery. But yeah, they actually did end up cutting that scene because what the thing about it, the mini games, is that they kind of pulled you out of the action a little bit.
Yeah.
So in theory, it was kind of cool, but when they actually put it into the game, it didn't really work. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think like what ends up being in the final game will probably be a lot quicker in terms of like those mini games.
I also remember when I saw it, the game was just dripping with throbbing homoeroticism. The two guys just slap each other on the ass.
Attaboy.
Just rubbing oils all over each other and
I
just
don't know about
getting out of the hot
rubbing
tub.
oils.
I don't know if have they ramped that up?
No, they've actually definitely toned it down. I would say, like, I think they did pay attention to what was said on the boards and what even what we had said too. Like after seeing it, and like they do want to keep that kind of level of like humor and camaraderie and all that. Like for instance, you can still slap each other 5, but I didn't see any like butt slaps and stuff like that. It may still be in there, but I certainly didn't notice it when I was playing it.
Did you get to experience the other guy's AI at all? Like say if you were only playing by yourself?
Yep. Yeah, and it's actually pretty good. It's neat because I mean you can give commands, but it's very simple. It's like run over there, cover me, that kind of stuff, and you can do it all based on the headset too. It has voice recognition, so it's like easy to pick up and play, and you don't really like games like Graw, for instance. At times I felt like it was a little bit too much. I had too many things to think about, too many buttons on the controller to worry about, and all that. And this, it was just a little bit more pick up and play. They definitely said that they wanted to kind of capture that co-op feel of, say, like the older games like Contra or something, where it's just two buddies, you can get like play together, you don't have to really think about too much, but it works how you can work as a team. The one thing they did say from the beginning, this was last year or whatever, that was, they're going to put it out when it's done, and it seems like they're taking a little bit of extra time on it, which is good. And really, even in this stage, seeing something like the aggrometer kind of come in, which, a lot of games, it's like, we have the design doc, this is how it's going to be. These guys are kind of like tweaking and experimenting, and something like that. It was a pretty fundamental change to the gameplay, but I'm glad they did it because it actually does make a lot of sense, and it kind of gives you a little bit of it's something new in terms of the co-op space. So.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing a completely hetero way.
Yeah!
Great. Now we've got the fucking iPhone. Because Matt Leone is not here. Matt Leone is not here.
He'll be here. Matt's coming.
It's his away message. His
here.
away message says he's not here, and
He'll
there's
be
breathing.
Here. Chill out, okay?
The room is spinning.
Chill out. If you'll wear them, start. He's gonna be here. Look, here he is. Look, it's Matt Leone.
Hi. So you got everything in hand for you three? You got schedules and papers and...
Papers and graphs and charts and times on them and stuff.
It's gonna be okay, right?
Matt Leone's got your back. It's gonna be fine. Okay. Okay, good. Okay, good. Thanks, Matt. No problem.